Welcome to another episode of Police Beat, the show that lets you see some of the inner workings of the Gainesville Police Department. I'm Officer Ben Tobias, the spokesman for GPD, and joining me as co-host is Sergeant Sharna Sen, a patrol supervisor.
Thanks, Ben. We have a lot of new information to share with you on today's episode of Police Beat. We're going to show you a new mounted patrol unit horse, speak about pedestrian safety, and then close with a dramatic incident that faced one of our officers last year.
The Mounted Patrol Unit is one of the most visible parts of the Gainesville Police Department's downtown presence. The horses and riders are an excellent resource for crowd control and public relations. People that would never think of approaching a police officer on foot or in a police car are drawn to the horses and will strike up conversations with the riders. I personally have a very soft spot for our mounted unit because I had the honor of serving Gainesville as one of the riders for 3 years of my career. The upcoming segment tells you about the retirement of one of the horses I rode each day, and we're all sad to see him leaving GPD.
This is Blue. He's a 11-year-old Belgian draft. He's been on the unit for about 7 years now, and he stands about 17 2 hands tall. Blue was on the unit prior to my coming back to the unit in 2010. He was purchased out of Middleburg, Florida, and he was found and located by one of our previous riders, coincidentally, the Public Information Officer, Officer Ben Tobias.
We can safely and effectively clear the streets with just, the 2 officers on horseback using a lot less resources.
We actually owe a great big thanks to Nicole Pinto, who raised Blue to become a police horse, so his actual given name is True Blue Hero. We're really grateful for her raising him to be a police horse and building that foundation for us that we were able to continue building on.
Oh boy.
Kind of like you and I, when we're ready to retire, we're hesitant to go to work. We don't want to deal with people anymore. You start seeing the signs of ready to retire. So Blue's been kind of showing some behaviors that he doesn't want to engage with the crowd as much, maybe showing some hesitancy to get on the trailer, and seeing those signs are things we pay attention to when the decision comes to be retired. If he's hesitant to engage the crowd, we're not going to force him to do it. We want him to still enjoy doing his job. Just like you and I, if you get a job somewhere that you enjoy doing, you want to go to work. You get excited about going to work. All of our horses are excited about doing their job and serving the community and being around the citizens. When we have a horse that starts slowing down with those, we become attuned to them, and we're not going to force them to do anything, so they remain a happy horse and enjoy the environment in which they're working. And then we make the decision. It's a hard decision to come to because you create that bond with that horse, but it's always in the best interest of that horse. And again, making him enjoy still doing his job. His favorite patrol area, I think, was the Oaks Mall, and having all the kids come up and approach him at the Oaks Mall and showing them how much he liked candy canes. He loves candy canes. So when he retires, like I said, he'll go to the other officer on the unit who's in patrol now, but he's going to live a great life with her. He has a very big personality. He's one of the most well-received horses at any of the demos we go to. He thinks he's the size of a Chihuahua. He's very playful, very curious, and has, like I said, no concept of his size at all, and makes him more and more endearing because the kids, especially, are more likely to approach him when they see how funny and goofy he is. Blue is irreplaceable. I don't think we'll find any horse that is as sweet of a disposition as he is. The newest horse we have, Bolt, is as very curious as Blue is sweet. And that's one of the main characteristics we look for in a new horse, is the curiosity that they have. So we can train him to do anything with that curiosity and focus and refocus it.
This is Bolt, our brand new horse. We've had him about 60 days now, doing some training with him. Good boy, smoke. Bolt is a 7-year-old saddlebred thoroughbred cross. He was donated from a family in Alachua, and he was a prior mounted shooting competition horse. So one of our biggest obstacles is getting the horses used to gunfire, and he came ready to go with no fear in the noise of a gunshot. Horses by nature are just a flight nervous animal, so something that loud, especially shooting off their back or whatnot, they have to be able to just stand through that and relax so we don't run into traffic or get ourselves or someone else hurt. When he was young in a pasture where he was out with a few other horses, a storm had rolled in and they were all standing underneath the tree, which they normally do when it rains. Lightning happened to hit that tree and killed every horse in the pasture except for him. With the white stripe on his shoulder, Lightning Bolt was pretty much the fit name from then on out. David Larson and his wife were the people who owned him and donated him to the department. They didn't even think of him being a mounted police horse, but as soon as we kind of told him about what we were looking for, he said, "This is the horse you need." He was 100% right off the bat. We noticed he's as strong as some of our horses that have been here for a few years now.
One of the things we will miss the most about Blue is his sweet disposition. He's just a lover. When you walk out to the pasture, he's one that comes up to you, puts his head over your shoulder. He's easy to walk around and lead around, and he's so compliant and just so peaceful. So he's going to have some pasture mates to play with, and he's going to live a great life.
We know that the new horse Bolt will be a great addition to the mounted unit, and we are looking forward to many years of service from him. After the break, we will refresh your memory about pedestrian safety in our city. Police Beat will be right back.
Burglaries and robberies have become serious concerns in our city. This crime is referred to as a crime of opportunity because most criminals look for the path of least resistance. Protect yourself, don't become a target, lock your doors, and keep expensive items out of plain view.
For crime prevention information, go to GainesvillePD.org or call the Gainesville Police Department's Crime Prevention Office at 334-2479. Protect yourself. Don't become a target.
If you spent more than 10 seconds near the University of Florida campus, you know at least two things to be true. Orange and blue are the university's colors, and there are thousands of pedestrians in our city. We are always working to reinforce the responsibility of both vehicle drivers and pedestrians to ensure that everyone is sharing the roadway. In the following segment, we revisit a pedestrian detail that focused on a single crosswalk on Southwest 67th Boulevard and how we were able to make significant improvements in pedestrian safety.
Today we're doing a pedestrian detail. We're actually targeting vehicles that do not stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk back here. The detail started about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. It's a pretty successful detail. We do have a lot of compliance from vehicles, but we do have a lot of vehicles that are not complying. So the biggest concern is accidents. And well, matter of fact, we had two people just recently got hit by vehicles crossing, and it was pretty bad accidents. So basically, we're just trying to cut that down, make people aware of people crossing, and also make the pedestrians aware that they need to follow the rules also. You know, there's a crosswalk provided, they need to use it.
We still have a high yield rate in the city of Gainesville. We're fortunate for that. It's getting better and better. You know, we started this back in 2010. We're putting more message boards out where we need to. So when we're not running details, we have message boards out saying yield to pedestrians in the crosswalks. So as many ways we can get out to the public what we're doing, the better, because you know education is the biggest component of traffic safety. We need voluntary compliance because there's not enough of us to go around sitting at every intersection waiting for a violator.
It's about being nice, really. If somebody's in a crosswalk across in front of you, just go ahead and stop. But fortunately for us, it's the law. You need to stop. Also, for pedestrians, if there is a crosswalk provided, you must also use that crosswalk. In other words, I guess the term jaywalking applies. It is a problem, and as a matter of fact, one of the accidents that we had last couple weeks ago, it was due to somebody jaywalking, and they got hit by a car. And as you see back here, you know, we have students getting off the bus, and you know, we see some of them not using the crosswalk. We'll pull them over, and we're educating them also. We're letting them know that look, they need to use the crosswalk as provided.
Now, the City of Gainesville Crosswalk Safety Program is a state grant given to us so we can use off-duty officers to, monitor intersections and crosswalks to see if vehicles are yielding to pedestrians when they have the right-of-way.
This is a moving infraction. The citations run about $154 for it. So it is pretty expensive. So hopefully, when you think about that type of money coming out of your pocket, you kind of look out for pedestrians more.
Just remember, drivers must yield to pedestrians and crosswalks. This means stopping when necessary to let pedestrians cross. Drivers must yield even if there are no pavement markings at the crosswalks. That's very important. And drivers cannot overtake other cars that have already stopped at a marked or unmarked crosswalk to permit pedestrians to cross the roadway. And turning vehicles always have to yield to the pedestrians crossing on a green light or with the walk signal on.
We urge everyone to share the road, no matter if you are in a car, on a bike, or walking. We all have responsibilities when it comes to pedestrian safety. After the break, we will be talking with GPD Officer Jeff Bailey about an incident he faced last year, which shows that police officers never know what's going to happen. But before the break, we are going to share a Police Beat traffic tip with you.
Every weekday from 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., the right southbound lane on Southwest 34th Street at Southwest 20th Avenue becomes a right turn only lane. This operation has been in effect since August of 2000. During 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., we remind motorists of this lane change in 3 different ways. There is an advance warning sign in the 1800 block that states right lane must turn right when flashing at 20th Avenue. This sign also has a flashing light that is illuminated during these lane change times. There is also an illuminated sign on the traffic signal arm that displays right turn only during 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Finally, the traffic light itself displays a right green arrow instead of a straight green signal. This temporary change each day is to maximize traffic flow during peak hours. When motorists follow the signs and adhere to the lane switch, traffic flows efficiently and prevents backups in other areas. Make sure you are always following the signs as you drive, and it will guide you in your trip. We hear the media throw around the word routine all too often when speaking about police work. Routine traffic stop, routine patrol, routine call. As officers, we too can get caught thinking our jobs are, quote, routine, but they are anything but. Officer Jeff Bailey has seen a lot in his life. Prior to becoming a GPD officer, he served in the U.S. Army for 24 years, many of those with Special Forces. But last year, he worked an incident that stays with him today, and it should be a good example to the public that no incident is, quote, routine. It may also explain why our officers stay alert every second of the day. This incident should also be a reminder to all police officers to never get complacent on the job. Let's hear Officer Bailey tell the story.
You are different things to different people out there as a police officer. They look at you differently. To one person, you're this nice man who helps him in a traffic accident. To another person who might be a criminal, who might have committed crimes and spent time in prison, they may hate you. I mean literally hate you. To another criminal who's in the process of committing a crime or possibly has a warrant, you're a threat to them, because if you stop them and you investigate, you may take their freedom away because they may end up going to jail because of a crime they've committed. So you're a threat to them in that sense. And then to someone else, you're someone who wrote them a ticket the other day. So I think everyone sort of sees police officers a little differently. As police officers, we don't know what people are thinking about us. We can only go by what's in front of us and what we see, and so we always have to be on edge. We always have to be aware. We always have to assume that, that the people that we're coming into contact with are friendly, and we have to build rapport and maintain a good relationship with them and all, and try to, again, build, their confidence in the police force, because we really are out there trying to protect them. Thought the night was over with because I had a number of calls to go to. I was a little behind on paperwork, so I was trying to get my paperwork done. I sent in a report, and we try to get that wrapped up by the end of the day. And our supervisors, they have to approve all of our reports. It's probably 10 minutes before time to get off for the night. And my supervisor sent it back and said, hey, you need to change one thing here. You need to make one correction, which is kind of typical. So I pulled in quickly into a parking lot, buried my head in the computer, made that correction. I looked up and there was a girl coming across the parking lot. Now this is in the Northwest. This is off of 13th Street in the Northwest, and I saw her coming across the parking lot, and I thought it was kind of strange. It's not completely unusual for us to see a college-age girl walking that time of night. This was a Saturday night, so it wasn't completely unusual. And but it was getting a little bit late, and the parking lot was kind of dark. And so I started looking around and to see if there's anyone else out in the parking lot, and there was nobody else in the parking lot. And so then when I looked back at her, I realized she was coming straight at me now.
Hey, miss, stay there. I'll get out and talk to you. Miss, stay there.
And then I realized she had her hand behind her back, way up in the small of her back. And of course, we like seeing hands. As police officers, we want to see what people are coming up to see what they're holding. And she didn't listen to me. She just kept walking. I yelled again. I was like, miss, stay there, stay there. And my window was down, so she could hear all this. And she just continued to walk, didn't say a word. So I started to spin out to get out of the car. And then I realized she's closing the gap. She's not listening to my commands. I don't know what's behind her back.
Miss, stay right there.
Not answering me. So I have no idea what her intentions are, but she's walking straight towards me. And all this is happening very fast. She's continually walking towards me. So it's probably all happened in 6, 7 seconds, maybe 10. And so at that point, I made the decision that I needed to put my firearm on her.
Your back. Take your hand up on your back. Miss, stop! Stop! Stop right there!
And she has this long dagger, short sword of a knife in her hand, and just continues to walk towards me. And then I thought, that's a really big knife, for a young woman to have out in the middle of the night. Continued to yell at her. She took about 2 more steps after she pulled the knife out from behind her back, and then just stopped. Just a split second. If she had taken another step or 2, I might have had to fire. I would have fired. I was already squeezing on the trigger.
Get down on the ground! Get all the way down! All the way!
She stopped. Thank goodness I didn't shoot. But if she had taken another step or 2, if she had screamed, or if she had done anything to make me think she was attacking me with that knife, more than what she was doing at that point, I would have shot her, I'm sure. There's a reason for that. If someone has a knife and they're coming at you, you only have so much time to react. And if they're not listening to your commands, and you have to defend yourself. Once she stopped, I had her get down on the ground and handcuffed her and all. But that's just a great example of, here this whole night went completely uneventful, and the next thing you know, I'm in a situation where it was almost a shooting, and that's kind of what this job is like. You never know.
Officer Bailey's experience could have changed course in less than a second and could have ended much differently. Thankfully, no one was injured during the incident, and it can now be used as a training tool. We hope that Officer Bailey's story gives you a glimpse into what our officers face as we serve and protect the public.
Well, that wraps up this month on Police Beat. Make sure to follow GPD on Facebook or Twitter, or connect with us at GainesvillePD.org, where you can make suggestions on what you'd like to see featured on a future episode.
We love taking your suggestions and putting them on air, so please let us know what parts of GPD you want to see.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next month for another episode of Police Beat.
At Christmas we give them candy canes, but they'll love this noise. You see his ears already? He's so gentle.